Ladies and gentlemen, um, my topic will be from the Malaysian experience. The topic reads like Balance and Inclusive Education, the Malaysian experience. Now, in Malaysia, we have 10,000 schools, 5 million students, and 500,000 teachers. And we have a population of very close to 33 million people. Definitely this we can't compare with Mexico. Just now when they mentioned that there are about 25,000 schools and 25 million students and all that. Yeah? Now, Malaysia is also quite unique in the sense that it's a multi-racial country, multicultural. You have many different ethnic races. You have the Malays as a dominant race. You have the Chinese. You have the Indians, and you have a dozen of ethnic races. And in fact, we have more than 50 over different languages being spoken by different ethnic groups. Okay. Now, education actually plays a very central role in Malaysia's pursuit of economic growth and national development. And Malaysia actually depends a lot on knowledge, skills, and competencies of its people. Now, with these aims, the Malaysian education blueprint was developed. And now this blueprint is for Malaysia's education development from 2013 to 2025. And it took into account multiple perspectives from various experts and international agencies like the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, which is UNESCO, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, also our public universities and other non-governmental organizations. Now, education is also incorporated in Malaysia's 11th Malaysia Plan, which is for 2016 to 2020, and the new economic model for Malaysia, where the focus is on high income, inclusiveness and also sustainability. And the education also takes into account the Education Act, which was revised in 1996. Now, the blueprint is built on 5 system aspirations. You have access, quality, equity, unity, and also efficiency. Access in the sense that Malaysian children have equal access to all levels of education from preschool right through secondary, and universal enrollment for all boys and girls from preschool right up to secondary education. Now, quality here is, it basically refers to Malaysian children in order for them to receive a high quality of education that is of international standard, and also the vision is to rank in the top quartile of the nations participating in the international assessments, that is the TEAMS and PISA, which is above the OECD average. And in terms of equity, is to have every Malaysian child who will have the equal opportunity for educational success, irrespective of socio-economic or demographic facilities, and 50% reduction in socio-economic gaps in student performance, elimination of gender gap across the system, and unity is basically aimed for all Malaysian schools to foster inclusiveness, diversity, national identity, shared values, and shared aspirations. As I was saying that Malaysia is very much multiracial and also multi-ethnic. And it is not that easy to govern a country which has many races and people coming from different ethnic backgrounds and who have different cultural backgrounds and also different religions. And in terms of efficiency, the will pay heed to efficient and effective deployment of public resources so as to maximize students' outcomes within the given budget. Now, the next slide basically shows you the national preschool standard-based curriculum, the national primary standard-based curriculum, and the national secondary standard-based curriculum. Now, the curriculum was actually developed and implemented in 2017, and this is now the second year of implementation. So it is for year 2 in primary and in secondary 2, okay? Now, the curriculum actually focuses on 6 student aspirations, and these aspirations are like leadership skills, bilingual proficiency. Now, bilingual proficiency mainly because we want Malaysians to be proficient in the national language, which is the Malay language, and also a lot of focus on English language as a second language. Now, English language is taught in Malaysia right from preschool. In fact, about 50% of preschool allocated time is for English language, and it is taught in primary 1 right until university. So there's a lot of focus also on English language as a second language, and students are also encouraged to take a third language, bearing in mind that in Malaysia you have people of different ethnic races, so there's also a lot of focus for students to take other languages, for example, like Mandarin, Arabic language, or even foreign languages which are offered, we offer, we have German language, we have French, Japanese language, and all these are taught. And the other student aspiration is also on thinking skills. In order to enhance their thinking skills, have a curriculum that is also very knowledge-based. Students are able also to identify the national needs and also possess leadership qualities and have good ethics and spirituality. In fact, this is one area we are also revising, especially the civics education by itself, so that students who come out of the system, not only they have good values, not only that they have good knowledge and skills, but they should also possess good values. Now, good values so that they are able to apply their knowledge and skills in a good manner and respect each other, mutual respect for all citizens of Malaysia. And the fundamental of the curriculum by itself, it focuses on communication, spiritual and attitudes and values, humanistic, personal development, physical and aesthetic development, and also science and technology. Now, these fundamentals, they form the framework of the curriculum, and the holistic development of the student is aligned with the national philosophy of education, which is to develop the individual in terms of intellect, emotion, spiritual, and also the physical aspect. And this is further enforced by excellent pedagogical strategies and assessment. Now, the next slide here, it shows about the preschool achievement by itself. The achievements of the national preschool in Malaysia, you have currently the National Preschool Development Committee has been formed. The National Preschool Information System and National Childcare Data Center is there. The Early Childhood Care and Education Council has also been formed. And the progress and implementation achieved to date, number one, you have increased access to public and private preschools. In fact, about 80 to 90% of Malaysian students now, they attend preschool at the age of 4 years old. At the age of 5 and 6 is compulsory, but a big number of parents also send children for pre-education even at the age of 3 and 4, especially in urban areas. Now, teacher qualification is also given a lot of priority in the sense that minimum qualification that a preschool teacher must possess is a diploma. And also ensure that all preschool fulfill the national preschool quality standards, strengthen qualifications with public and private providers. That means here there is a collaboration between the Ministry of Education and the private sector, and also strengthen implementation of the National Preschool Standard-Based Curriculum, which has been revised in 2017, and together with the curriculum, we also provide a teacher's guidebook, information book, and also monitoring and review of the curriculum implementation by itself. Now, other than the mainstream, we also have alternative pathways. First of all is the participation of students aged 15 years and above in vocational education. It started off in 2015 as from 5.28%, and it has increased to about 7.9% now. And we also have a number of graduates in vocational colleges, and that number has also increased from 2,000 to about 12,000. And if you look at the next pathway is sports school. Currently, we have about 5 sports schools and 15 state sports schools. And sports achievement, we have student athletes who have taken part in international events. About 467 students have taken part in international events. That includes about 28,900 national events. And also achieving quite well in the Rio 2016 Summer Olympics and also the KL Sea Games. Now this is the achievement of students. And we also have art schools, Currently we have about 3 art schools and 2 arts education program. And that enrollment has also increased from 576 to about 1,175 students. And the government also provide opportunities or I would say allowance for religious schools. And religious schools has also increased from 2013 to 2016. If you look at the number, you have we have a number of religious schools. Currently, we have about 278 religious schools. And these religious schools also do mainstream curriculum. Now, other alternative programs are, we have like young prisoners and juvenile programs. We have programs for street children, programs for sick children, programs for special education needs, indigenous initiatives, community learning centers, and also alternative learning centers. And as you can see, these are the number of schools that cater to these groups. Like young prisoners, you have a certain number of schools which offer their service to these children. We also have like children who are on streets, they are also given education. Children who are sick in hospitals, currently we have about 15 schools which offer this kind of service where they are also linked to hospitals. Inclusive education currently is conducted in almost about 80% of our schools. And we have indigenous programs for the native people of Malaysia. Now, the next slide talks on the challenges. Now, however, in obtaining balanced and inclusive education in Malaysia, there are challenges that cannot be avoided, such as sustainable and meaningful partnership with other sectors, for example, the NGOs, the private sectors, for example. Now, changing the mindset of stakeholders is also important. Now, this involves teachers, parents, ministry officials, the non-governmental organizations, and also the public. and also ensuring teacher effectiveness and good leadership in schools, and reducing the achievement gaps and also bridging digital divide between urban and rural schools. Now, marginalized groups is also a challenge. Students who are out of schools, for example, at-risk children who are on the street, they are also a challenge. Invisible children we have put here in the sense that students who come because of the immigrant parents and stuff like that, where they're not citizen, they are also accepted into the school system. And also achievement gaps of other marginalized groups, okay? Now all these are challenges, and the way forward, will be first, for balanced and inclusive education to work, fundamental transformation of the education system is needed. Now this journey will be defined by 4 characteristics here. Now the first characteristics here is ambition, so that we are able to produce the 6 key attributes, like I mentioned just now, the student aspirations needed for every student. Having a legal framework policy so that students are placed in schools for 11 years of schooling as compulsory schooling for 11 years. Now that will be the characteristics for ambitious. For comprehensiveness, all types of public schools embraced by all stakeholders, a scale-up communication and then also sustainable development goal, which is also in line with the Malaysian education blueprint. And in terms of sustainability here, ensure improvements built successfully on each other's system, maintain competitiveness in terms of the characteristics of rapid here, maintain competitiveness and escalate sustainable interagency collaboration with civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, and also other private sector. And finally, the end goal is actually to equip students with competitiveness so that they are able to strive in an increasingly globalized world, aligned with the national education philosophy, which is reflected in all the 6 elements, which are knowledge, thinking skills, leadership skills, bilingual proficiency, ethics, spirituality, and also national identity. With that, thank you, sir.